This is my brand new Asus K55N, and it's a pretty good laptop for being $430. It's good for some very light gaming, maybe like League of Legends or something like that, and then it's mostly good for browsing the internet, which I mostly do with this thing. It's actually competent compared to my old computer from 2008. That thing was just getting way too slow, so I bought this thing. And I'm very satisfied with what you can get for $430 or even $500 with a laptop nowadays. This thing has an AMD A8-4500M, which is an APU, so it has the decentish graphics, 6 GB of DDR3 RAM at 1600 MHz, so that helps with the APU, and 750 GB hard drives for storing all your media needs and all that cool stuff, videos, audio files, all that. It's just big and spacey for a laptop for $430. So the top is kind of textured, which is pretty nice. It looks good until it gets fingerprinty. 2 USB 3.0, USB 3.0, Ethernet, HDMI, VGA, your exhaust for your cooler, and on the other side we got headphones, microphone, another USB, and a DVD rewriter, writer, whatever. So that's 3 USBs in total. Down here is the bottom, which is also sort of textured, but to a lesser extent than the top. Rubber feet, yada yada yada, the basic stuff. The intake's right in the middle of the laptop, so you can fit that between your legs and stuff. 2 crappy speakers. Also, it doesn't get too hot. It doesn't suck in the exhaling or whatever from the exhaust over there. Also, you can see where the hard drive sticks out because it tapers off at the end of the laptop, so there's a hard drive. Also, you see LED lights and a multi-card reader. That's pretty cool down there. That's something I didn't really notice at first because who uses that anymore? But the LEDs, of course, I noticed that. Also, the top gets a little bit fingerprinty, as you can sort of tell if I get to the right angle there, those darker spots. But that's alright. You can just wipe it off. And this is what you interact with the computer with a keyboard. It's a pretty nice keyboard. It's chiclet style with the spaces in between the keys. I didn't really like it at first, but it kind of grows on you. It's pretty good for mobile use. And also, this keyboard's awesome enough to include its own little like 10-key keypad over there, which I can type numbers with, which I do all the time. And also a multi-touch touchpad, which is very handy in Windows 8, especially with all the Metro and stuff. It's easy to scroll with gestures and stuff. And yeah, it just has a whole bunch of gestures that you can do to just navigate through Windows. I think it's pretty handy. Now I'll demonstrate one here real quick if I move the camera up, and then use the 3 fingers up motion to bring up the Alt Tab sort of thing. It's sweet. Another thing I want to talk about, which no one really talks about, is the power brick. It's very small and it doesn't get too hot while using it. And also I like the way the cord comes out. Like with most power bricks, the cords come straight out, so when you put it in a bag, it can get like an open circuit when you bend or tweak that little cable out pretty good. This one kind of just wraps around, just sticks up the side. It's a very nice design, and it looks very nice too. It's not like an eyesore with a red LED and stuff, just or whatever. It's sweet. Now I'm going to show you a few games. First of which is Black Ops 2. I'm going to show you 2 games actually. But if you play this, make sure to get a mouse. This touchpad is not for gaming at all. Actually, touchpads in general are just not for gaming. They suck. So don't play like me, because I'm using a touchpad right now, and it sucks. As you can see, with mostly low settings except for high textures at 720p, I'm getting above 60 frames per second on average, pretty much. I'm not using fraps, I'm using the in-game frame rate counter, which is kind of stupid because, like, who has frame rate issues in Black Ops or Call of Duty if you have a somewhat competent video card? As you can see, I'm shooting at nothing over here. There was a guy there. But, you know, slow reaction plus touchpad equals I suck. And this is like a terrible fail. Duh. So, yeah. Rage quit. Next up is Sims 3, which would be another game I guess I'd play on the go. This one you can use a touchpad. This one's not that bad with the touchpad. Except, Sims 3 doesn't recognize some of the gestures, such as like the scroll wheel zoom, I don't think. And then you can't really rotate it because there's no way to middle click with this touchpad, which kind of annoys me. Of course, it's gonna lag a little bit when it's loading objects, what computer doesn't when it loads objects on Sims 3. So I got this running at a mix of like low and high settings, somewhere in the middle. Some of them are in the middle, anti-aliasing off, 1366 by 768, and it's running pretty smoothly. I don't really play this game that much, so noob. Look at this, noob town. First time you get all that sort of stuff. I lied. I'm going to show 3 games instead. This is Edf Insect Armageddon. It's a pretty not really demanding game, and it's also locked at 30 frames per second. It's like a straight console port, but as you can see, this laptop is running it pretty much at the 30 frames per second and not really budging from there. And I'm able to destroy all the aliens with their shadows and stuff, just like tons of them, without really even slowing down. This game doesn't have very much for graphics settings at all. It's just like the only thing that you have to change is turning anti-aliasing on and off, and also changing the resolution. It's also locked at 30 frames per second, so it just reeks of console port. But anyway, it runs really good. You can also see that the viewing angle of the screen isn't the greatest. Some of the things at the top of the screen from here are sort of inverting, and also you can tell that the screen is glossy. I've also taken a picture showing how glossy the screen is. So, yeah, it's not the best, but like when you're looking at it straight on, it looks just fine. That's pretty much it. This laptop is regularly priced at $500, but I managed to buy it at Newegg for $430, so it's like $70 off. Right now I think it's $450. Either way, it's pretty much worth it, that price. Most of the computers around $400 have the same hardware, except 4 gigs of RAM and a 500 gigabyte hard drive. So for a few dollars more, you get 2 more gigs of RAM and a whole bunch of more gigabits in your hard drive. And it runs really cool. Well, considering that this is Asus here, the makers of the DirectCU2 cooler, which is freaking sweet, that should run cool. And also, the A8-4500M is a very good CPU for just on the go, and in general, the gaming is pretty good. For like lowerish settings, you can actually play the game with decent frame rates, even though it doesn't look the best, but hey, it's a $430 laptop, so I have nothing to complain about whatsoever. If you're looking for a cheap under $500 laptop just to do whatever on, just for general usage, you can even get in like A6 if you don't plan on playing any games, but an A8, which is the quad-core version, the APU, that's probably your best bet right here. And it's also pretty dang cheap for what you get, so that's it.